Hey crew, so in this video we're going to go over armor stats on our guardians and how you can farm god roll armor guaranteed throughout this season, and also force destiny to give you the stats you want, or at least better RNG to get the stats you want. So pay really good attention to that because it really makes armor and god rolls grinding and all that so much easier. I found this out a couple seasons ago and it really changed the way that armor drops for me in Destiny and helped me build the builds that I want. This is probably the #1 question I get on all my comments and in the Discord, and the biggest reason for this is because resilience actually matters now. Resilience is tied to our damage reduction, and when you hit 100 resilience, you're up there at like 40% damage reduction in any activity you play. So we want high resilience now on all our characters, and this is tough for Hunters and Warlocks because if you're anything like me, you probably didn't have high resilience armor on your Warlock or Hunter in the past because it's just something that wasn't needed. Titans actually might be okay with this because I could hit 100 resilience pretty easily on the Titan because I was speccing into barricade to begin with, and our barricade, our class ability, is tied to resilience on the Titan. So pay close attention because this tip I'm going to give you first is probably the most important thing I can do for you and what you want to be doing the rest of the season for sure when farming your armor. So you have 6 stats here for your armor. You have mobility, resilience, recovery, discipline, intellect, and strength. When we create builds in Destiny, or people do builds in Destiny, whoever you watch, whether it's me or somebody else, you're normally speccing into certain stats, whether that be discipline for a high grenade build, whether that be mobility on a hunter for dodge, barricade for titans, right? A bunch of different things. But I want you to understand something here. Intellect is not very important at all. Intellect could literally be 0 and it really wouldn't affect your gameplay very much, because intellect is tied to when you do damage to an enemy, that's how your super is charged. It's how much damage you're putting out to enemies throughout, activities you're playing or bosses that you're doing. So intellect you can do without. Strength is also something that you really don't need to build into. There's ways to get our melee back in the game, right? Different things you can do that always refunds that melee, like, throw your hammer, pick it up, or stuff like heavy-handed that gives you half your melee back. A lot of different things can get your melee back. So as far as strength goes, I wouldn't be speccing into strength very often. There is very unique builds that need a 100 strength, like very unique ones. So as far as intellect and strength go, not really the most important. So now we have to look at the other 4: mobility, resilience, recovery, and discipline. Discipline is grenades. You guys know how strong grenades are, so we always want high discipline, especially on a Warlock and a Titan. Hunters, this is a little less important, but still, it is important. Recovery is also very good. It allows you to get back in the fight quicker, right? When you take damage, how long does it take for your health to regenerate, to start its regeneration when you're out of damage, right? Is it 1 second or is it, 6 seconds? So recovery is always important, but recovery is less important this season because of Classy Restoration. Everybody's using Classy Restoration. So recovery is not as important this season, but after this season, it might be just as important as it always was. So we still want high recovery if possible. Resilience, super important. That's your damage reduction. This is the way we're going to stay alive in Grandmasters or difficult content. So now you would want 100 resilience in pretty much anything you do. So for me personally, if I'm playing Warlock or if I'm playing Titan, I am going 100 resilience, 100 discipline, and I am trying to get 100 recovery. That's my goal for this season, to respec my armor and to make it good enough to get triple 100s in those 3 areas moving forward. Now, if you're on a hunter, which sucks to be a hunter, but you want mobility as well because that's your dodge. Now, we can work around and get our mobility back in different areas, but still, if you could run 100 mobility, 100 resilience, and 100 discipline on a hunter, for me personally, I would take that and just like 50 recovery here, right? That's for me personally. But on a hunter, you still want all 4. If you can get high in all 4, that's what you would want. So it's a little harder for the hunters because they have mobility and you would still want recovery, resilience, and discipline. But to make that way easier for you guys, on your ghost over here, when you do any type of farming this season, whatever activity you're doing, however you're farming the armor, and we're going to go over how to farm those god roll armors in a second here, put on a discipline armor mod. This is super important. Armor pieces with random stats you acquire will have a guaranteed minimum of 10 discipline, are most likely to drop with higher discipline, okay? So, as you can see with my armor right here, like look at my Warlock helmet. 26 resilience, 13 recovery, 25 discipline. My gauntlets, 27 resilience, 18 recovery, 30 discipline. My boots, 41 resilience, 4 recovery, 23 discipline. So you see how my discipline is spiked, and then I put my mod, right? Here's a resilience armor mod, a resilience armor mod, and a recovery armor mod. I put it in different areas because I didn't need that discipline, because I spec'd into discipline right here. Now the reason you want to spec into discipline is because the game has these 3 stat pools, mobility, resilience, and recovery, in its own pool, and then you have discipline, intellect, and strength in its own pool. So when you get a high stat drop armor piece in discipline, intellect, or strength, so this bottom pool, it's forcing another high stat armor drop in the top pool. And the reason you want to be having a discipline mod on your ghost is because it's forcing into one of these three, right? So on my warlock, I would want resilience or I would want recovery. That's what I would want. Now it's up to RNG to get, you know, either resilience or recovery out of the 3, but you're giving yourself a higher chance to get one of these 3, okay? If you put a resilience mod on your ghost, which is fine, you can do that and you will get high resilience if you really just want to get 100 resilience. But the problem with doing that is your second stat, your second high stat, will then go into the bottom 3 pools, which means it will be discipline, intellect, and strength. Now you can get lucky, right, and get it in discipline, possibly, but you also have a chance to hit intellect or strength, which means you're giving yourself a 1 in 3 chance down here. But when you put a discipline mod in your ghost, you're giving yourself a 2 in 3 chance up here, right? Because you could take resilience or recovery. And on a hunter, it's even better because when you get discipline on your ghost mod down here, you're guaranteed one of these 3 on the hunter, which means you're actually hitting one of the stats for sure that you need. So that's a bonus for a hunter this season, is you're actually getting something you want in the second stat column. So that's why you see a high spike in these armors up top and bottom, because I did it with the discipline mod and I got the next high stat spiked up top. And that's how it works. So I'm going to show you right here at the table. So I have a discipline armor mod in my ghost shell right now. So what should happen here is this is the first farm you guys can do, and this is the one I suggest everybody do. Over here on the second page, you can focus armor. This costs 25 legendary shards and 10 opulent energy. You get your opulent energy, right, by literally just farming the new public event, the Castellum over here, and grabbing the chest, the nightmare chest, and you'll get, for me right now, I get 9 opulent energy. So you want to make sure that you're just doing your normal farming. You know, this is the seasonal activity. It's stuff that we're all doing. So you get your opulent energy from here. Then you take your umbral engrams that just randomly drop while you're playing the game, so it's a very easy farm to do. You're going to come over here and you're going to focus into whatever you want. So I'm going to grab one of each of these real fast and just show you what should happen. So we got a helmet, gauntlets, chest, and boots. So if I come to my character, I should, because I have a discipline armor in, I should get a decent spike in discipline, and I should get a decent spike in one of these top 3. That's how the game should work. So when I go down here, here we go. I have a 66 total stat base, 29 discipline, 10 recovery, 16 resilience. So as you guys can see, very good. Throw in a resilience mod in here. We are literally up to 29 and 26 and 2 stats that I really want on my warlock, and we still got 10 recovery out of that. That's a really good pair of boots right there. So then you can end up putting your armor mod in recovery or discipline, whatever you want, right? And that way it's just a great piece of armor, and that's just a guaranteed armor drop I just got right there. And I guarantee that those pair of boots are probably a lot better than a lot of the boots you guys have right now on your warlock, because we just don't have high resilience, right? So we forced the game to give us one of those top 3, and we got lucky because we got resilience. We'll also take recovery on the warlock, but mobility is something we don't want. So let's check the chest piece now, okay? Same thing, chest piece. 64 total stat, resilience 24, discipline 24. Exactly what we wanted. So we got 6 strength down there. That would have been nice if that was up in recovery, and the 6 mobility would have been nice if it was in recovery. But still, great piece of armor. And remember, when I masterwork it, right, we're getting the +2 to each column. So technically, this pair of boots would have been a 31 discipline and a 28 resilience. Like, that's crazy. Let's check the arm. Let's check the arm piece real fast. So see here, we got unlucky. We still had the 24 in discipline, But we had the 20 in mobility. That's something we don't want on the Warlock. We really don't want mobility on the Warlock. If this was the Hunter, great. That would have been awesome. And then let's check the helmet. Helmet, that's okay. I mean, we got 24 discipline and 16 resilience. We would have loved to get that 13 mobility in recovery. If that 13 mobility would have been in the recovery, another great piece. But again, a little unlucky. But we're forcing the game to give us more towards the stats we want, which makes the armor farm that much easier. So the number one armor farm that I would tell you guys to do is right here at the Crown of Sorrow. And all you need to do is just to make sure that you have the bottom upgrade here. I believe it's this one. Gain the ability to focus haunted armor. Armor must be acquired previously in order to focus. So if you unlock that, it allows you to focus the armor. And literally, it's legendary shards and opulent energy. Energy, again, is you just get from doing the, containment event. And then you can also get energy if you happen to have the Bound Sorrow in your inventory that you get from the chest. You take that over to the server mission. Okay, so over here on the moon, if I could ever get there, the server mission, and you use your Bound Presence, it will then drop also opulent energy. So that's another way to get it. Now that is the number one best way to farm armor. The second best way, I know this is going to be hard for a lot of you, but to do the master dungeon, it is guaranteed high stat armor from the boss. Like, just farm the boss, get a good group together, go to LFGs, try it out. As soon as you get high enough in power level and it's easier for you later on in the season, I know this one's a hard one, but later on in the season, definitely farm this. And then I'm going to be doing a lot of help later on in the season for this as well for people, because I need the armor and I might as well help you guys get some of that armor as well. So we'll be doing that. But that is the second best place you can be doing this. Like, it is guaranteed, I mean guaranteed, high stat armor. Like the armor I am wearing right now, this is Artifice armor, right? This is from the new dungeon on Master. Same thing here, Artifice armor from the dungeon, Artifice armor from the dungeon. That's literally where I'm getting some of these pieces from. And like I said, you could still easily get these, right? They're still just as good, but they just don't have that Artifice armor slot, right? So my boots have the extra slot that I could slot something in there from the artifact. Or my gauntlets, same thing. I have overload rounds out here because it's Artifice armor, which it's not a huge difference, but it just gives me a little more flexibility in my builds. And then the third place I would do it is the Pit of Heresy boss. The Pit of Heresy boss dungeon is a lot easier than the Duality one. But as far as the Pit of Heresy goes, if you farm the boss, right, because it's only a 1350 recommended power level, that one also has a good chance to drop high stat armor for you. So you could also farm there. And then the last place that I would do it is over in Savathun's Throne World. And it'll be the Wellspring on Master version. For a lot of you solo players, just stick with what I said originally, Opulent, Castellum. Farm it out while you're working on your weapon borders, right? Your Ostringers, your, Drangs, your Midas, be this way. So I hope that you guys found this video helpful. I really hope it helps you guys out. It's something that changed the way armor worked for me a couple seasons ago, and I had no idea about the separate stat pools, but it will really help you guys in farming that God Roll armor, and it guarantees you God Roll armor, which is crazy. Like, it's just not RNG based, and I get this comment so many times. You guys, if you just take advantage of what I showed you in this video, it will work for you. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope it helps you guys out. I really hope it does, because it makes a big difference. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.